Courage and the boldness that you gain after speaking affirmations over yourself. The more you hear it, the more you believe that it's true.
And welcome to Premier Fitness. I'm Gene Williams, your yoga instructor, and I'm here to tell you about the benefits of yoga.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. You have just tuned in to Where is the Love? I am your host, Stephanie Hockenhall. Joining me is my son, my co-host, Gene Williams.
Oh, we on. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm still doing the butt over here.
Do you, boo, do you. Y'all, if you are just tuning in, you are either watching us. Hey, Gene, would you share my Facebook page with your audience? I forgot to ask you to do that. If you are watching us, you are either watching us on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube. Where is the Love? Also, you can watch us on podtv.tv, the website. You can watch us right now as we're airing this show on Roku and Amazon Fire. And just search PODTV space LIVE and watch us live on TV. Thanks for sharing that. But you can only watch us live on TV while we're airing the show. Otherwise, all of the other places I said that you can watch us, you can. On our YouTube channels, it's Love Misunderstood Institute or Premier Fitness 0210. And that's where you can watch the replays. So thank you for joining us. We have been talking about gaslighting. We still have a lot to cover on that. And so we're going to give you a recap of what we did on, this is episode 104. So we're going to give you a recap on episode 103, and then we're going to get on into episode 104. So, so Gene, go ahead and share the recap, please.
Gotcha. All right, on episode 103, we gave you more reasons for what could happen if gaslighting is not addressed and how it can lead to significant and lasting harm across multiple areas of a person's life. We also talked about how ignoring gaslighting does not make it go away. It allows its effects to deepen and spread. Addressing gaslighting is not just stopping harm, it's about reclaiming control, fostering healthy environments, and creating opportunities for healing and growth. Failing to address gaslighting can lead to various life hindrances that extend beyond immediate emotional or psychological harm. These challenges can ripple across all aspects of your life, affecting long term personal growth, relationships, career prospects, and overall quality of life.
Yes.
In our last show, in particular, we spoke about how it limited personal growth and how it also strains or breaks relationships.
Yes. So now on this episode, we're picking back up with that. And so we're adding to those two that Gene just highlighted that we covered on episode 103. If you want to know the details of that, go back to episode 103. So another way that another challenge can be career and financial instability, insecurity at work. Gaslighting in professional settings can make individuals doubt their abilities, leading to missed promotions, demotions, or job loss. It can, your career and financial instability can decrease You can have decreased productivity. So the stress of gaslighting can impair focus and motivation, negatively impacting performance. How many of you know that when you are under stress at work, that you don't have the ability to perform and function the way you would without the stress?
Right.
Stress really negatively affects our work performance.
Right.
And so, did you want to add something?
No, I
Okay.
absolutely agree. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so with the career and financial instability can be a financial dependence. And what that is in personal relationships, gaslighters may use manipulation to control finances, limiting the victim's independence.
Right.
And I'll let you cover, excuse me, educational challenges.
Yeah, it's funny. I was having a conversation with one of my friends the other day. I can't even remember who it was now. We were talking about like how in I remember now. We were talking about like how in situations of gaslighting and further, other narcissistic tactics, like how a person comes into your life and you're doing well financially. You're doing like, for instance, this friend was a photographer. We were jokingly talking about like how he's had people tell him, well, I'll take care of you. You don't need to be out all day shooting pictures and whatnot. And it's like, wait a minute, this is how you met me.
Right.
And now you want to stop me from doing what I love doing so you can control every aspect of my
Yep.
finances. Now I got to ask you if I can go do this or if I can go do that. And who you really like?
Yep.
People do that though.
Yep.
I mean, I've experienced it. I mean,
Yep.
not to that extent, but like they stop you from doing what they met you doing and
Right.
want to mold you into their vision of something. It's like, wait a minute. So it wasn't love. It was, the hopes that you can manipulate and control me.
Yep.
That's the wrong premise to start a relationship.
Right. Right. But that's the sneaky way to get you to, under their wing,
Under this,
and
oh
then,
man,
yep. So it starts that way, and then it changes because now I got you where I want you. So now I can
hmm
limit you even more of doing,
right,
from doing what you want to do because you
right,
got to depend on me,
right,
for
yeah,
finances. So,
right. And, yep, and they can strip. So and they slowly begin to strip you of your autonomy.
yep.
Your independence. I mean, it's like to me. I feel like all relationships, be it romantic or business wise, like it should bolster who you are and help you grow. Both sides, like you have your independence and you also have your relationship, and those have to like there's a lot of discussions that have to be had.
Yep.
Okay, how does this affect our relationship? Also, how does this affect me as an individual? You have to
Hmm.
think both ways and as an individual first. You know
Yep.
and we lose that in situations where you're in a relationship with a narcissist who, again, does everything they can do to strip you of your autonomy, your independence, just so you'll be dependent upon them. And
Right.
when this starts to go to extremes, that's when you need to run for the hills, run
Right.
for them Dale hills, run from them hills, run fast. You
Because
better run for it, run for it, run.
if you don't run for it, you're gonna end up being in a worse position in your mind than you ever thought you would be in.
Right,
Um, because they absolutely do not care. Um,
right,
when people want to control you, they start out with these little manipulation tactics, and it
right,
grows bigger.
right. Yep. And you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, I swear.
Yep.
All right. So number four is educational challenges. Uh, Not addressing gaslighting could cause educational challenges. You could have academic decline. Students who experience gaslighting may struggle with focus, confidence, or asking for help, leading to poor performance. Also, they can have lost opportunities. Fear of judgment or failure may deter victims from pursuing higher education or specialized training.
Yeah.
Dealing with a person who gaslights you makes you feel like you're less than,
Yep.
you know, like as opposed to building you up, you know, they find ways to slowly cut you down, slowly but surely, little slivers of yourself, and it makes you question everything about yourself, even your intelligence, you know, and your worthiness. In the situation of academics, it's like, that's also kind of tied to how we view ourselves. Um, you know, you get more education because you feel you believe in yourself. It's like if I build this, I'll become more powerful. Knowledge is power, so you build yourself up through education and opportunity. And when you lose the desire to do that, you begin to lose the desire to do anything.
Yeah. Yep. And it's easy to do, and you end up in that position sometimes before you know it or before you even really think about it, like we've
Right.
already said.
Right. Agreed.
So go ahead.
Number five is increased risk of exploitation. Not addressing gaslighting causes you to be vulnerable to other abusers.
Yep.
Victims of gaslighting may unknowingly attract or tolerate similar behaviors in future relationships or environments. Very true.
Yep.
And and if you ever, and I mean, again, I know from personal experience, you at home, if you're dealing with that at home, then it's easier for when you go out in the world to do the same thing, in business and in other relationships that ultimately like drain you of life and and the desire to again do anything.
Yeah.
You begin to lose yourself.
Yeah.
It also causes difficulty in setting boundaries. Without addressing manipulation, victims may struggle to assert themselves, making them susceptible to further mistreatment.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. And the more that you allow people to run over you, the easier it is for them to keep doing it because they see it's easy. So, okay, well, they're not going to speak up. Well, you know what? I'm going to do this.
Yep.
I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do this until there's no more of you. They've cut off so many parts of you that you're nothing but skin and bones.
Yeah. And that's very hurtful, but it happens.
Right.
So again, we've talked about boundaries before, um, a number of times, and so that's why it's important to speak up for yourself and also to um, create boundaries,
Right.
um, because
And
then that
enforce
lets,
it.
yeah, because that lets them know I don't agree with what you're doing, and it's not going to be that way. It's not okay.
Right. Yep. And it can be difficult, but it's necessary. And every time, think about it like this, it's like, building a muscle. You're in the gym lifting weights, you want to build up muscle mass. It takes, repetition. The more and more you do it, the stronger that muscle gets, the bigger the muscle gets. So, it's just like that. Think of it in those terms. When it's difficult to do something like that, to stand up for yourself, to set boundaries, you know, um, just remember every time you do it, you become stronger.
Yep. And before you know it, you're a different person, a much
Right.
stronger person. And it becomes easier to set boundaries. It becomes easier to speak up for yourself because you've been putting
Right.
it into practice. Like
Right.
Gene said, building that muscle.
Yep. Yep. Yep, mind over matter, mind over matter. And if you don't mind, it don't matter.
Right. So number six, chronic mental health struggles is something else another challenge you'll endure. Um, or could endure. And what that is perpetual anxiety and depression. Left unaddressed, gaslighting psychological toll can lead to long term mental health issues that disrupt daily life.
Right,
It can lead to internalized shame. And that's why it would be a mental health issue. So victims may blame themselves for the abuse, compounding feelings of inadequacy and guilt is
right,
another thing that happens. And then it becomes a mental health struggle. Um, and so many people are struggling with mental health. Um, And so many people don't want to address their issues, no matter what the issues are. Some are in denial. I don't have any problems. Or, oh,
Right.
it's not that big of a deal. But if you're not dealing with it, it's just more and more stuff packing onto it, piling onto it. And so before you know it, you got this huge trash bag, walking around with this trash bag full of stuff on your back because you're
Right.
not dealing with your issues. And
Right.
then you're mistreating more folks because you're not handling your issues. So you putting your hurt onto them. Hurt people hurt people.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
want to go to the
That
next. Go
something
ahead.
else I spoke to my friend about, a photographer friend. We were talking about how the internalized shame piece. Like people, I've heard a lot of women in the past, dealing with guys who are physically abusive or mentally and physically abusive or verbally abusive or however, and they one of the excuses that they say early on is that, well, if I hadn't done this, maybe he wouldn't do this, like again, blaming them for the actions of the abuser. And it usually starts off as like we talked about, it starts off as gaslighting. It's that little thing, how they kind of start to slowly mold your mind into something different where you become their victim.
Right.
It's like drinking poison slowly before it kills you. Slowly over time, it breaks you down little by little.
Yeah.
Um, or one of the terms that I heard in therapy is death by a thousand cuts. You
Wow.
know, every little thing. Next thing you know, you bled out over time because of those little cuts that they do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's bad, but so true.
Right. And that's actually a tool of torture. If I remember correctly, the country that that term came from, it may be the Philippines. I'd have to look it up again. But like that's a torture mechanism. Slowly cut them over time, and wow,
Yeah,
leave them
that's
there
crazy.
to suffer, to suffer.
Yeah, that's crazy. So number 7, you want to do it or you want me to do it?
Yeah, I don't mind. So also not addressing gaslighting may make it difficult to make decisions. Uh, called paralysis by analysis. Gaslighting undermines confidence in judgment, causing victims to overanalyze decisions or avoid making them altogether. Also, it causes dependency. Victims may rely on others to make decisions for them, further diminishing their autonomy. Kind of like we talked about before. And it's fine, like in regular relationships, to ask advice, but when you don't trust your own thoughts, that's a terrible thing, especially when it's been brought on by being gaslit constantly by, someone who's supposed to love and care about you.
Yeah. But then you've been made to trust in them and to trust in to value their opinion and their thoughts,
Right,
um, concerning you. Um, and that's a tough thing because
right,
now you're not speaking for yourself. You're speaking and saying what you think they want to hear or what you
right,
think, you know, um, is good for them. Okay,
right,
if I say this, will they be okay with that? So
right.
then you're living out somebody else's
People
way.
pleasing.
Say it again.
People pleasing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Living exclusively to please someone else despite to to spite yourself.
yeah,
Man, again, been there, done that. You stop doing things to make sure that you don't make that person upset. And then after a while, you do that so much, and they ask for so much of you. They chump it, they take chunks out of you with those things. And then it's like later on down the line, you look back and it's like, who am I? What have I become? I don't even know who I am anymore. So
yeah.
yeah.
Is your earbud on? Is it connected to? Can you hear me through your earbud?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Um, okay, so we're talking about failing to address gaslighting and how it can lead to various life hindrances. So we're just adding to it. Um, and so, number 8, loss of opportunities for fulfillment. So, avoidance of challenges, self doubt can prevent individuals from pursuing their passions, hobbies, or meaningful goals. Also, loss of opportunities for fulfillment can create misconnections. Fear of judgment or manipulation may hinder social interactions and opportunities for personal growth. You want to add anything?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could speak from this standpoint. I remember very well having opportunities presented to me, and just to keep the peace, you got to put quotations around that. To keep the peace, I wouldn't do certain things.
Yeah,
And like I said, after a while doing that stuff, people stopped calling for a while, And thankfully, my best friend pulled me in and asked me to do a movie. I was like, man, I haven't acted in like almost 10 years. Like, I haven't done a photo shoot in almost 10 years, just thinking over things. It's like, man, I used to sit around and daydream about doing stuff like that. And I've allowed myself to lose that version of myself just to keep the peace. That was
yeah,
not peaceful at all. It was chaos.
yeah,
It was chaos. And then after you deal with that and you start to try to rebuild that aspect of yourself, that person sees you and will say negative things to make you doubt yourself.
yeah,
You know, little jabs. That five
yeah,
thousand cuts, little jab. Yeah. I don't know if you need to be doing that, or you need to be focused on this. Why you gonna tell me what I need to be focused on?
yeah,
I'm focused on bettering me as long as I'm providing for the family. Me doing
yeah,
outside stuff. Come on now, man. Come on
yeah.
now, man. Stop trying to control. Stop trying to control me. Stop it. Stop it.
And that's all that's about is, well, let me find another way to maneuver in and gain control in another way.
Right,
Uh, and then so you saying little slick stuff to, thinking I ain't gonna catch on to what you trying to do or what you
right,
saying or what you are really saying.
right.
So
Yeah,
you want to add anything else to that?
yeah. I was gonna say, and that's really insecurity on their part.
It
You know,
is.
for instance, uh, a person from the past,
Yeah.
um, would
Uh
oh man. No, but that person was like, if it don't make money, it don't make sense. And it's like, when you're doing anything new, you have to build something.
Right.
It doesn't just, doesn't manifest itself right in front of you with opportunities to make money. But the more you do it, the more you perfect your craft uh, and get out in front of the right people. Sometimes you have to make sacrifice on the front end. You don't always
Yeah.
get paid for everything, you
Yeah.
know? But you keep sharpening those tools, somebody will hear you be like, "Yo, hey, how much you want? How much you want to
Mm-hmm.
do this?"
Yep.
And now it's like, yeah, you just got to stay down. You know what I mean? And not, well, I don't think you should be doing it because you ain't making no money. You taking time away from us, and I don't know what you doing to you out till 11 o'clock at night. But you forgot to mention the fact that I was working all day until 8 o'clock, and then I came, took a shower, and went to a rehearsal for a couple hours, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know who you around. Yes, you do. You know everybody I was around. We got on the video and I showed you everybody. I mean, what else do you want from me? I showed you where I was. You saw our child running around.
Yeah. That's just like you said, insecurity is all that is.
Right. Like, bro, I can't say
And
that. Darn it. I can't say that.
be nice.
I'm trying to. I'm trying to.
So uh so number 9, you want to do number 9 or
Yeah,
you
for
want me
sure.
to?
Oh, goodness. All right. This is a tough one for me. All right, so not addressing gaslighting can have a negative impact on parenting or leadership. It could perpetuate harmful dynamics. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Everybody in the background. Well, I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, I feel the spirit. Gaslighting survivors may unconsciously replicate. Did you hear that? Gaslighting survivors may unconsciously replicate manipulative behaviors or avoid addressing conflict effectively. You teaching the babies to gaslight people
Yep.
and think it's okay. And you don't think those things that you do gonna come back to you
Yeah,
as a man
that
soul? Yeah,
that part.
yeah, right. Everything has an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
You know, you do dirt, you get dirt. That's what DMX said. That's what DMX said. You do dirt, you get dirt. Never mind. I ain't gonna finish that. But
Marcus being silly, he said, I had one question. Do gaslighters do the butt?
they need to. They release some of that gas. They
So,
like, you
yeah, we
know
were
what
listening to some music before we started our show,
I
and
mean?
there's this old song, Doing the Butt. I don't
Going
know
in
if
the
that's
butt.
the name of it or not, but
Yeah.
anyway, so that's what
Down,
Mark is
down,
talking
down.
about. So, y'all know we ain't,
I mean, we may
everything's
be
all right
crazy.
with us.
I mean, it may not be. You know, if it ain't you still listening, ain't you? Oh, okay. Well, let's keep the party going. If we crazy, then you crazy too. Welcome to crazy.
Especially if you stay here and keep listening.
Man.
So did
All
you
right.
do the second
I
part of
have.
9?
I got you.
Okay.
So not addressing gaslighting can also make it difficult to advocate for yourself. Victims may struggle to stand up for their children, employees, or others due to their diminished confidence. Yeah, not addressing gaslighting can break you all the way down to again the point where you feel like you have absolutely no power, um, and the despair that comes from that feeling is just like I understand why people, go through suicidal ideations when you are dealing with situations like that. It makes you feel like you are worthless.
Yeah.
Like no one cares about me. The person that, I love makes me I have to walk on eggshells at all times. And then you it's like why am I even here? Why am I here? Like, do I matter? And then dealing with your children in the situation. Now, this wasn't me because I don't play that about my kids. I don't play that about the kids. But other people may deal with situations where they dealing with a gaslighter who's the other parent and they don't stand up for their kids, you know, which is that's devastating. It's devastating to not feel like the power to even speak up for your own children because the person's broken you down so much.
Yeah.
Like that in itself, that's just wow. That's disheartening just to even think about that.
Yeah. It's the confidence part. Um, the last part of what you were saying is, so you were talking about the struggle and how it leads to diminished confidence. So we've said on some of our past shows, in order to build your confidence, and to be able to build boundaries and to feel safe with doing that, and to feel safe with the outcome, with the thought of, after I stand up to this person or build this boundary between me and this person, they may no longer want to be in my life. You have to be
Right,
willing to accept that. You have
right,
to go to that's part of what could happen. But you have to have a strong support system. We've said that on our past shows, so that you can go to them and talk to them. And, in talking to them, they'll say things to help build you up when they care
right,
about you. They'll
right,
say things to help build you up. And before you know it, your confidence is built up. And then you have the strength and the courage to go to somebody and say what needs to be said. Um,
yeah,
so, it's so important to do that.
yeah,
Uh, so I just wanted to
yeah.
add that.
Yeah, and that support system is like you can bounce ideas and thoughts and feelings off of them. If they truly love you, I mean, they'll be honest with you. And
Yeah.
if they hear, you know, about what you're saying about your partner and how they're treating you or whatever, you know, you you bring up things and they'll understand, oh, okay, this person is being manipulated or controlled, and they'll tell you. I mean, the person who truly loves you, they're gonna tell you the truth. Now, they're gonna do it with love, but they're gonna be honest with you. Hey, that's not a good situation. You
Yeah.
know, you may not, you may want to think about this, you may want to think about that, because you can't change a person if they're determined to stay, which a lot of people who are abused tend to stay because it's as weird as this term sounds in that context, but it's their comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's what they know. They know
Yeah.
the abuse. They know that regardless of the fact that they hate it or not, they it's something they can count on. It's going to be there every day. They know how this person operates, and that's something that they have to look forward to. And that's just the thought of that is again disheartening, unearthing. Is like, wow, we allow ourselves to go so deep into abuse that that's what we look forward to.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeesh. Been
And,
there,
and
so yeah, it's ugly.
yeah, and another thing is you tend to want to stick with what's familiar. Um, and some people don't like change. So those
Right,
are two other things. And so it's hard sometimes to get away from that familiar. And then that's why it becomes your comfort zone. And you always hope when you're in an abusive situation that it's going to get better. It's going to
right,
change. It's going to get better. And before you know it, years have gone by and your mind is totally different than it was because you're so dependent on the reactions and the responses you get from the manipulator or the
right.
controller, the controlling person. So,
Yeah.
so you want to add something?
No, I was gonna say, yeah, this the toll it takes on you is you you always see it in hindsight. You never see it in the moment.
Yeah,
Um, and that's the scary thing. Like you said, over time you look back and you realize again that they've taken chunks out of you, you know, and you are an emaciated version of who you were before. If you allow it to continue. So
yeah,
that's why it's imperative again to just be vigilant, be aware of what's going on within the context of whatever relationship you're in. It's important to enjoy it, but also keep your like Uncle Armand said yesterday, keep your head on the swivel. Keep your head on the swivel. In the moment, but keep your head on the swivel. You never know. Pay attention.
boy, them brothers of mine
Yeah.
and these kids of mine.
Yeah.
I
Hey.
can't, I can't blame it all on y'all because I'm involved too.
Yeah, right. I was saying you part of the craziness too. Come on now. Join the party. Join the party. You
It's
have a you
fun
have a
though.
golden ticket.
I see through my golden eyes.
Come on now. We all up in there. I see you. I see you. Hey you, I see you.
Well, we was talking about comedy yesterday,
Mhm.
and how some people just really try hard to be, like going in early, talking to the boss, before the shift, cracking jokes and trying to
Mhm.
be comedians. And I was talking to Armand, and then he said that he said, yeah, and our family just do it. We just be sitting around. We ain't gotta, try to make up nothing. I mean, it's just natural. We
Right.
ain't getting
Yeah.
paid.
Right. With natural goofballs, like
Yeah.
by nature, all of us.
Yeah. So number 10, health and wellness setbacks is another thing that we're talking about when it comes to failing to address gaslighting. So Health and wellness setbacks, what's included in that is neglect of self-care is one of the things. And so the emotional toll of gaslighting often leads victims to deprioritize their health and well-being. And
Right.
then physical illness is another part of the health and wellness setback. So prolonged stress can contribute to chronic illnesses, fatigue, or other health conditions. So with this, it's really hard to, maybe eat right or to want to exercise or to, before you know it, days have gone by or weeks or months have gone by and you're not taking care of yourself. Um, and Mark says self-care is vital, and it is. So you
Right.
have to take care of yourself. So eat right, get plenty of rest. Um, and if you don't do things like that to take care of yourself, you're going to end up sick.
Right.
So it's inevitable because you're not
Right.
taking good care of yourself. So you want
Right.
to add something?
Definitely. I was going to say, and make sure that you make your physical, your wellness about you. If you do it in the context or for someone else, for instance, if you're in a relationship with a gaslighter or a narcissistic person, you do it for them. When they stop paying attention to you, you're gonna stop caring,
Yeah.
But you have to remember that your health and fitness is about you, you know, whether they end up there or not, and in the end, your health is your personal health and well-being is of the utmost importance to and for you. And make it
Yeah.
a priority to do it for yourself, not for anyone else, not to look good for everyone out there. You need to be internally, well within yourself.
Yeah.
So,
So the next one, um, so we're still talking about failing to what happens when you fail to address gaslighting and how it can lead to various life hindrances. So number 11, you want to go ahead?
oh yeah. So not failing to address gaslighting could cause spiritual disconnection. It can
Yeah.
cause a loss of faith. Victims
Yes.
may feel disconnected from their spiritual beliefs or values, especially if gaslighting undermines their moral compass. Man. Um, Also, emotional isolation, a lack of trust in oneself or others can create barriers to experiencing spiritual peace or community. You want to say something about that?
Um, yeah, it's easy to feel disconnected from your spiritual beliefs because you're like something that I hear a lot of people say, or I've heard a number of people say is, well, if God is a good God, why are bad things happening to me? You know,
Right,
why is He making this happen? You know,
right, or allowing,
uh,
yeah,
yeah, and allowing is the right word, but you know, when you're distraught and you're upset because things aren't going the way you think it should, you don't think about allowing. You think about, why is this happening to me? You
right,
know, why is he doing this to me? That's, something else, I've heard other people say, and he's
right,
not doing it. There are forces, demonic forces that are doing evil things to you, and if you don't, um and to cause you to second guess your spiritual beliefs,
right,
to cause you to blame the creator, um because you don't know and you don't understand. When people say stuff like that, it's because they don't know and understand that God, the creator, don't do bad things to us. He allowed things to happen. And I mean, even in, you read in the Bible, he allowed Job to be tested, because, so that Job, um, could show, that he really did love God. He really did trust God because, Job was a good man, the scriptures say. And so, but Job at the end, because he, his friends were saying all negative, kind of negative stuff to him and beating him up and well, maybe you did this wrong, or maybe you did that wrong. And so they weren't giving him good wisdom. And so in the end, um, he had to pray for them, so they kept
Mhm.
having conversations and stuff. And this is how life is for us. We keep having conversations, keep going through things, thinking it's going to change. And when things don't happen the way we want them to, then, you know, well, God ain't good. God is doing this to me. Why is he doing this to me? And, instead of saying, Lord, what can I learn from this? Or
Right.
God, what is it, you're doing in my life to help me? How is this going to help me? Things like that people don't do. Um, well, most people don't do. They just keep blaming God, and that's what the devil wants you to do, is to blame God and come listen to me and do what I tell you to do. So then you're doing what you want to do, living life the way you think it should be lived, and all of that. And so anyway, when it so you end up being, without going into more detail, you end up being more disconnected from your spiritual beliefs and values, um, because you don't know, you don't understand, and you don't have a relationship with the true God, who will reveal anything to you. All you got to do is ask him for his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And he's happy to, you know, to give that to you. But if you want to just say, well, God is doing this and doing that, I understand why he's allowing this and allowing that, then, your struggle is going to continue for a long time, because you got your eye on the wrong focus in the wrong place. I know I went deep there, but that's what I do when it comes to spiritual stuff.
Right.
So, um,
Yeah.
so
I've had some friends like I remember, especially as a teenager, I had a lot of friends who were going through like a lot of, physical abuse and sexual abuse in their household, and by people who were really religious, and they went like staunch atheists for a long time. Like, if God truly loved me, why would, you know, this person who's supposed to be, your messenger or whatever, um, is doing this ill stuff to me constantly, and using those things like, scripture and whatnot to get to do with the people,
yeah,
it's always been disturbing to me. Um, but the coolest thing is that like a lot of them now, they have a total different like perspective. Um, they become very spiritual and realize that all the stuff they went through early on set them up for success through life by dealing with those traumas that they experienced, and now they're on a path of healing, and they are helping other people on the path of healing through those uh, the pains and things that they had to deal with. So, you know, is it's something I tell myself often, and it still don't stick sometimes. That everything has a purpose, everything has a reason. All the pain is growth, in life form, and you just have to learn to remember that. That's the biggest thing. Remembering, recognizing or re-knowing that everything has a purpose. Every pain is growth. Um, and it's still difficult. I mean, just because you know that stuff, don't make it easier for you to
nope,
just be like, okay, okay, I know that, but still, it's
yeah.
like my mind knows it, but everything else in me right now, I want to throw something across the
Yeah,
room.
that's because your heart and your mind ain't on the
Right,
same accord.
right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, and that's a process. It's a
yeah,
process, man. And also, I say this often: you have to give yourself grace. You know, in those spaces where you're, it, consciously, but right now the space that you're in is not, like you said, not your heart and your mind are not in perfect alignment, knowing or recognizing that everything has a purpose. But give yourself grace in those times. You can't.
yeah,
It's not always that you're gonna be able to snap back and be like, oh, okay, well, okay, all right, take a deep breath. Sometimes you're gonna flip out a little bit. Give
yep,
yourself grace. I flipped out a little bit, but I reeled it back in. I
yep,
did my woosah, and now I'm good.
right,
You gotta give yourself grace in those spaces.
right. And so all of what you just said, going back to Job in the end, he, God told him to pray for his friends, pray for your
Hmm.
friends. And the scripture don't say this, but pray for your friends because they was misleading you,
Yeah, right.
giving you the wrong information, not giving you good wisdom. So pray for them. And then so Job prayed for them, and then Job got double everything that he lost.
Right.
So that's what happens. You lose, you go through and you deal with, and you have to learn how to deal with and process and learn how to bounce back, be resilient and learn. The big thing is learn from that thing. Once you learn
Right.
from that thing, then you can move forward.
Right.
Um, and then see the good that was supposed, that needed to come out of all that those bad situations.
Right.
So
Yeah. One of my favorite sayings that I feel like would resonate very well with this is uh, don't when you have an L, don't take a loss. Don't take a loss as a loss. A loss is a lesson. So change the L from loss to lesson. And
yeah,
once you learn that lesson, then you become a better version of yourself. If you look at like, I've heard Michael Jordan and other, fighters and whatnot say that they learn more in their losses than they did constantly winning. You have a loss and you begin to tweak things. You begin to tune up
hmm,
um, and become a better version of yourself because you realize, okay, that didn't work. So let me go back to the drawing board. Oh, okay, what did work?
yeah,
Repeat that. And then, okay, this didn't work. So, all right, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's tweak that some. Let's strengthen this weakness, and then you go back to it. So
yeah,
as long as you take things like that, everything is a learning opportunity.
yeah,
Um, then you become better because you're always sharp. Okay, you analyze in that moment. I did this right. I did this. I didn't do this so well. And then you just kind of figure it out. Do it again. Do it better.
yeah, yeah. And the more you do that, the faster you'll start thinking differently when another situation arises because you've been through that. You see how long it took and all the, so it helps to remember, oh, I did this last time,
Hmm.
or changed this way of thinking, and then good came out of it. So if I
Right.
hurry up and do that, then I'll get through this faster, instead of,
Right.
being mad about it for days, years, you know, days, months, and years,
Right.
then nothing can change because you're not trying to, you don't want to see nothing different. You're
Right.
okay with what it is, you know, doing all the complaining and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Complaining ain't gonna make nothing better.
no. um, so did you,
What?
okay. So legal and safety risks. Um, there are legal and safety risks, so which is staying in unsafe environments. Gaslighting can make victims doubt the severity of abuse, preventing them from seeking legal or protective measures. Also, financial exploitation when it comes to legal and safety risks. And that is, manipulators may gain control over legal or financial assets, leading to long term setbacks. You want to add anything? If not,
Yeah.
then go to the next one.
Well, yeah. Just being in an unsafe environment, a person who's a gaslighter is often an abuser.
Yeah,
Um, and staying in an abusive environment again perpetuates more violence over time.
yeah,
I keep misquoting this statement, but Zora Hurston, where she says, if they abuse you and you don't speak up about it, they'll say you loved it. You know, like that has always every time I hear it, it's like a smack. Like, wow, you have to speak up. And she was speaking specifically about racism at the time, but
yeah,
still that permeates all lines of life.
yeah.
You know, if you don't speak up about it, they'll say you loved it and keep it going. They'll turn up the tempo on you. I mean, they will. They will.
That's
It's oh,
horrible,
it's
but
crazy.
true.
Yeah.
Horrible but true.
Yeah.
Uh,
Number
Go ahead.
13. Number 13 of not addressing gaslighting is generational impact. The influence on children. Children exposed to gaslighting may normalize manipulative behavior, perpetuating cycles of abuse. Inherited trauma, unresolved gaslighting trauma can manifest as anxiety, mistrust, or conflict in family dynamics. And, obviously I can speak to this very well. Uh, you
Yeah.
know, um, you know, the past person has taught, you know, my child how to be a gaslighter. I mean, she's like quite proficient at it. Um, you know, creating false narratives and bogging down, like settling down into or sticking the toes in the sand on it, constantly repeating, false accusations that are absolutely non-factual. There's no truth to them whatsoever, and just buckles down. And then got to the point where, now she's trying to tell me who I am, what kind of person I am. It's like, okay, yeah, we've got a big problem here because that's major gaslighting. First off,
Yeah.
this is a lie, and now you're trying to create, um, false character dynamics within me, saying, again, saying things that are absolutely false. There's no truth whatsoever to it. It is even been misproven in the court of law. So you still continue,
Yeah.
you still continue, and this is again generational.
Yep.
Just I'm gonna say it straight up. I mean, it is what it is. It's not disparaging. It's factual. Um, my ex came from the situation of a mother who was very controlling and manipulating, great at gaslighting, great at manipulating, controlling, isolating, triangulating, all of those things. Then her daughter did it, you know, to me personally. And then now my daughter is doing the same thing. This is three generations of women doing this. And ain't no telling how far it goes back. I mean,
Yeah.
even on her paternal side, his father was a controller, manipulator, so on and so forth. So, again, perpetuating generational cycles of gaslighting, manipulation, narcissistic abuse, so on and so forth.
Yeah. And that's bad. And as you suggested earlier, we will at some point cover generational curses and how they, you know, affect generations. And somebody has to choose to stop
Break the
it.
cycle.
Yeah, to break the cycle. This can't be this way. This can't continue. So, and we'll talk more in detail about that. But yeah, those things are very hurtful. Um, and so you have to, find ways to deal with that, you know, um, to stop it, or to make it cease, for a period of time. So whatever that is, not talking to them, not going around them, because you just gonna keep getting that same stuff because they don't see anything wrong with what they're doing. So they're gonna continue to do it. Um, and
Yeah,
which is sad, but that's how people do. Well, you keep coming back for more, so I'm gonna keep giving it to you. So
right. Yep.
it's I'm it's ridiculous that people do that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you can do it. Number 14.
All right. So again, not addressing gaslighting can cause a lack of advocacy for others. It can cause reduced empathy. Victims may become emotionally withdrawn, making it difficult to support others experiencing similar challenges. It could also silence awareness. Without addressing their experiences, victims may miss opportunities to educate or advocate for change in their environments and their communities.
Yeah. Number 15, there's a missed potential for healing, which is could include unresolved trauma. Avoiding confrontation with gaslighting leaves wounds unhealed, which may resurface in unexpected ways. And we talked about that a little already on this show.
Right.
Missed potential for healing can also cause a lack of closure. Victims may struggle with lingering doubts, regrets, or unresolved emotions, limiting their peace and happiness.
Right. Yeah.
Um, Go ahead.
I was going to say gaslighting causes you again to constantly question yourself. Second, have a lot of self doubt. You second
Yeah,
guess yourself. Um, and and again, it causes crazy making where you begin to question your own sanity. And then when you begin to question yourself so much that it like unravels your personal foundation, then it's hard to heal because you're constantly, you know, I could have done this better, I could have done that better. And yeah, I mean, at a certain point, saying that, acknowledging the problem, acknowledging where you went wrong is great. But when you can't move on from that, you further perpetuate, you know, cycles of doing the same thing, and even just allowing yourself to not heal because you can't find peace with realizing that, hey, I'm imperfect. That's
yeah,
why I said before, give yourself grace. Once you realize you made a mistake, no need to continue to beat yourself up about it. Just change it and do something different. Do
yeah,
something different. Do something different consistently. When,
yeah,
when you see the same cycles come up and return, then it's important for you to be like, oh, nah, okay, I see where I'm going wrong. Let me check that. Skirt,
yeah,
skirt, reverse.
yeah. Reverse, reverse.
Right, exactly. I had a bus of you.
All right. So the last one that we're gonna do today, you want to do it, or you
Yes,
want me to?
you can finish.
Okay. So social withdrawal, which includes a fear of socializing. Victims may isolate themselves, fearing judgment or manipulation from others. Also, social withdrawal, loss of community, can include a loss of community, which is isolation, can cause individuals to lose valuable social connections and support networks. And Jean already talked about that earlier in this show. So if you
Yeah,
missed it, you can go back to the beginning of this video and hear more about that. What happens when you're, isolated from people, and so you just have to go back and listen. So we're close to the end of the show. You want to add anything, any encouragement or empathy, um, or just words of advice for the audience?
for sure. I mean, if you realize that you're in a situation where you're being gaslit, address it. Address it. Set those boundaries. Set them firmly. Enforce them as much as needed. Every time they violate, you gotta boom.
Yeah,
It's gotta be a hard wall. You give an inch, they take a mile. So
yeah,
be aware of that. Also remember to love yourself first. If you are in a situation with a gaslighter who constantly make a person who makes you constantly question your own self, then you need to be able to step back and be like, yo, is this me or is this them?
yeah.
You know. Um, so again, just be aware. Um, keep your head on the swivel. Keep your
You're
head
gonna
on
be
the
wearing
swivel.
that out for a minute now.
Exactly. Keep your head on the swivel. Look around corners. Lift up the rock. Hey, anything under there? Spin along. Hey, everything all right in here?
So, y'all, we share this information to help you learn how to, be okay with the way you have to address things. And so we didn't mention, and I thought about it throughout the show a couple different times, but if you don't have anybody that you feel like you can trust with information to talk to, uh, or people are giving you, like I talked about Job, his friends giving him bad wisdom, not giving him good wisdom, I'll say that, about the situation, but saying, well, maybe you did this, or maybe this is the reason, and all of that. That's not good wisdom. The good wisdom would be, what can I learn from this? This is what's happening. What can I learn from it? Or what should I be learning from it? So
Right.
anyway, just, you can call 988 is the other thing I was going to say. Or you can go to the website buildingbridgeskc.org and get help there. That costs, calling 988 doesn't cost, and you don't know the people, you're just talking to them on the phone, but being able to express yourself and say what you're feeling and what's going on is very helpful, so that you're not digging yourself into, or allowing anybody to dig you into a deeper hole that it takes a long time to get out of. The stuff is very hurtful, um, and lead to mental health issues.
Right.
So, which is what Building Bridges KC.org is about, mental health, certified mental health coaches and therapists. You can just go to the website, choose one, set an appointment, pay for the appointment, and then talk to somebody. Again, 988 is free. So that's our time for today. You want to add anything else?
Just be blessed. Be safe out there.
Yep. So for now, we'll be back here next Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, wherever you're watching us from. So we send you peace. Peace. Okay, now you can see it. Send you peace, send you love. Take care, and bye for now.